From the St. Francis Yacht Club in San Francisco, this is the Wednesday Yachting Luncheon, hosted by Ron Young.
Our guest today is James Pleasance, the Executive Director of the World's Women's Match Racing Tour. James, how'd you like the day, first day?
Fabulous day. I was first here in 2006 at one of our open World Match Racing Tour events, the Allianz Cup. So I haven't been here in a number of years. It is just spectacular, and we've had blue skies, sunshine, a lifting breeze today. I mean, it's hard work for the teams, but I mean, what a fantastic opening day. 10 teams, first day of our opening stage of 2023 Women's World Match Racing Tour, and this is a new event as well, the Casa Vela Cup. So great day.
So now there's 4 events in this year's tour, and talk to us about the potential to develop more venues in the tour.
Yeah, that's right. This is our second year of the Women's World Match Racing Tour. Last year we had 4 events. This year we've got 4 events. We start here and then we go straight to Annapolis next week for the Santa Maria Cup. It's a back-to-back, 2 events in the US, and then we go to France in June to Le Havre, and then Copenhagen in September in Denmark, which will be for the last and final event of this year's series. But the plan is to bring on more events and also in new territories and regions. We're talking to some partners in Asia, also Australia, New Zealand, and possibly the Middle East. But these things take time. We're only in the second year of the Women's Tour, so watch this space.
Now, you and I both know that the sailing demographic is very high-end, very educated, affluent people follow sailing. And so when it comes to sponsorship opportunities, it seems that more events, as you keep growing more events, you become a more attractive sponsor opportunity.
Well, I think there's 2 things. One is, for a sponsor that is, one is a lot of sponsors look for exposure of their brand, and we have a global reach through our media, through some TV coverage that we do, an online presence. So that ticks that box. Secondly, you talk about sailing. Often it's considered a very complicated sport to follow. It happens 20, 30 miles offshore with lots of white sails and no one really knows what's going on. The beauty of match racing, and particularly at this event, and this has got to be one of the top venues in the world for this type of sailing, is that it's 2 boats. They sail around a course and the first one over the line wins. And
very clear who's what.
It's very clear, and the first one over the line gets 1 point and the second one over the line gets 0 point. Add the points, team with the most points at the end of the event wins. There's a few more intricacies than that, but overall it's actually one of sailing's easiest disciplines to explain to potential sponsors. And as a global tour, we're actually the only global tour for women in the whole sport of sailing right now, so we're very unique. So I hope also very attractive for sponsors, whether they're from here in the US or globally.
So this is one of 2 tours that you've organized, James. Talk to us a little bit about the 2 tours and how they fit together.
So we have 2 tours. One is the Open World Match Racing Tour. What does open mean? It means for male and female skippers alike. It's open to all, and it has been since we started the tour in 2000. This is our 23rd consecutive year with the longest running professional sailing series in the sport. Over that 23 years, we've given just over, coincidence, it's the same number, just over $23 million in cash prize money to these sailors, which has been a huge achievement. But what's been interesting in the last few years is the increase in the appeal and interest of women in sailing, and that comes right down from the Olympics, who have their own mandates. By I think 2030 they want to have a 50-50 male-female participation in the Olympics, and so we're seeing that shift in attitude, particularly in this sport. There has traditionally been a lack of opportunity for women in sailing, and I don't think I'm alone in saying that. It has traditionally been a more male-dominated sport if you look back 30, 50, 100 years ago. And there's a real shift in that now, and this is an opportunity for us to create the Women's World Match Racing Tour. Why? Because it gives hopefully what will be that opportunity for women sailors, women teams to compete on their own tour, increase their own skills, hopefully with sponsorship, as you talked about, with prize money, with global media. We're going to increase their profiles. the dollars they can put in their pocket, and so they can really do this, professionally and even full time. So we're very excited about that.
Speaking now with Bruce Stone, the organizer and regatta chairman of this event. Bruce, how long ago did you start thinking about having a world women's match racing tour?
We went to Auckland in November for the Women's World Tour that my wife, Nicole Brault, was invited to. And I admired the athleticism of these young women sailors, especially the Aussies and the Kiwis. They have a phenomenal training program, and they were out there competing very high level. I met some of the British sailors and Swedish sailors there and felt that we should be hosting something just like that.
So talk to me about when you first got the first invites and when you started inviting people to come to the event and when you started, doing the notice of race and race instructions and so on.
Well, we found that Congressional Cup was finishing last week, and we thought that it would be advantageous in terms of attracting the top umpires to match our event right after Con Cup. Also, Annapolis was already thinking about joining the World Tour, so we sandwiched our event between Con Cup and Annapolis, which was very convenient logistically. And what we did is we invited teams to come here and to Annapolis together. So we paired our event, which is actually Eastport Yacht Club in Annapolis. So these teams, for the cost of coming to the United States from different continents, are getting to do back-to-back Grade 2 events. So it's very efficient for them. And that was in November when we had the idea. We then tracked down the top 10 women's sailors in the world and invited them. And then most of them accepted, and a few that didn't come, their slots were given to up-and-coming women match racers.
Mm-hmm. So far, one sailor is running away with the game. It's only day one. Nothing's nothing until, as Yogi Berra would say, it's over. But how are you liking how Nicole looks so far?
She's pretty consistent. I mean, she's doing a great job in the pre-starts and dominating her way around the race course. And it's very windy conditions here, so you have to understand the wind and the current, basic boat handling, plus match racing skills.
And she's got a pretty good crew.
Yeah, her team have been with her a very long time. Their total age is more than double the age of the youngest team, and at least 50% higher than most of the other teams. So they've been doing it for a long time, and they're great sailors.
Yeah, really, really good sailors, each of them individually. So when you talk about building the tour, if you had your choice, how many stops would there be in the World Tour?
Well, at the moment there are 4. It looks like there's a chance of a 5th. China has a developer who's interested in promoting it as well. And so the tour organizers are considering that as a 5th event. Mm-hmm. But right now it's not on the schedule. So right now it is the United States here for the first one, Annapolis for the second one. The third one's going to be in France, and Nicole is going to Annapolis and France, and I get to go along. There's going to be one in Denmark, but we can't do that. She can't do that one because it conflicts with some other racing that we're doing. Because there's a big schedule in the United States with a Grand Slam in Detroit, Chicago, Oak Cliff that she's planning to do as well.
So now, in terms of world ranking, how is world ranking handled on match racing among females?
Okay, both open. There's 2 categories: open and women's. And so she ranks 3rd in women's, and in open she's very high as well. In open you can have male or female skipper, and you can have mixed crews. And so she ranks on both of them. So it's based on the quality of the event, a World Sailing Championship or Grade 1, Grade 2, Grade 3, Grade 4, Grade 5. So the higher the grade, the more points are awarded. And of course, if you finish first, you get more. So it's a mathematical formula. Finishing first in a Grade 1 or Grade 2 event earns you a lot of points. Finishing 8th earns you a few token points. And then it adds up. But they only take your events, I think, for the last 3 years. So your older results start spinning off or dissipating off, and so it rewards the more recent events.
Well, my name is Christine Morton, and I'm representing the Royal Danish Yacht Club.
How long have you been sailing?
Since I was 10, so that will be 17 years.
How many days this last year did you guys practice for this event?
Oh, wow. Well, we started out as a team almost exactly a year ago, and we've been doing 3-4 times a week. So that's some math I don't want to do.
So how many first, how many not first?
We had 0 wins today.
0 wins today.
Yeah.
Okay, so you win the Courageous Award though, because here you are being interviewed for the event.
Yeah, I was very happy to see you right off the dock.
Sophie, how was the day?
Yeah, it was good. We had a real range of breeze out there. It was a bit lighter in the morning, which we've not seen in the training days, which was really nice. And then the wind really picked up for the last 2 races there. So it was fun to get flying and have some close match races with the kites up and hooning down the harbour.
You like it light or you like it breezy?
We like the breezy stuff. It was good fun today. The girls did really good. There's heaps on in these boats. A lot coming into the bottom mark, especially with the gate, making that cool and then getting the kite down. But they aced it.
So people who are in our audience know that weight is very important on boats, especially in breezy days, because the flatter the boat, the faster the boat. What do you think you guys are weighing now? What'd you weigh in?
Yeah, we're like right on weight.
You're right on weight.
Yeah, right on weight. Which
within
is
a couple
helpful.
pounds of the weight.
Yeah, for sure. Which is helpful. We cut for it, so I think we're probably bang on weight now. Lots of food on the water, so it definitely helps in the breezier stuff.
And so if you were to think back about your day today, what part of it were you happiest with? The up breeze or the downwind? What legs?
We had a couple of really close downwind races. We had a bit of a luffing battle with Anna. I think that was probably one of the highlights. It was a bit touch and go right into the finish, a really close race. It's always good when you win it close and it's right at the finish. I think it makes it more exciting. The heart rates were definitely up.
And so talk about what were you doing with your weight going up the breeze? Are you roll tacking these boats even in the breeze?
Not so much in the breeze at the end, but we definitely were roll tacking. They're very responsive to throwing the weight around. So we're definitely roll tacking them, and in the jibes as well, rolling to come out of them to then flatten it. Yeah, definitely rolling them.
Yeah. How do you feel about handling the kite in breeze?
I mean, I don't have to do too much. I trust the girls, and they did a great job. There was definitely some hairier moments. It's always a little bit tricky in match racing when you're close with another boat and you're luffing each other and the kite's kind of going forwards. But they did a great job.
Brooke, how do you like San Francisco breeze?
It's very fun. It's a bit wild and wavy, but we really enjoyed it out there today.
What was your condition? Did you like up the breeze light air or big wind?
I think we like the big wind. We like to be able to throw around the boat a bit more and be able to go fast.
So how were the jibes?
A bit sketchy here and there, but we didn't have any majors, so
Really?
yeah, we're happy with that.
Yeah, great. So what's your record at this point after 7 races?
We won 2 today.
Oh, good.
So yeah, we had some really close battles. I guess we're just getting into the swing of things, and we're working really well as a team together. So big improvements, and really excited for tomorrow.
How many days of practice did you have coming into this event on your team?
With our team, we trained a lot back home in our Elliott 7s, but when we got to San Fran, we took advantage of the 2 extra practice days. So we've had 3 days of training on the J22s.
In terms of close crosses and stuff?
I'd say about 30 centimeters.
How many inches is 30 centimeters?
Look, I'm not sure, but I'd say probably about that far. Yeah, pretty close.
1 foot.
Yeah.
How many flags did you get thrown at you today?
I think we got 1 penalty today against us, and we got 2 penalties on our competitors.
Good for you. Yeah. Wonderful, Brooke. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Terrific. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And we're speaking with Nicole Brohl. Nicole had a very good day today. As I counted correctly, and I've only got so many fingers, I think you were 7 wins and no losses, Nicole. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Nicole, you're 3rd in the world, and how do you like the breeze out here in San Francisco?
I love it. I love it.
Where were you guys on the weight today? How much did you weigh today?
I think we're right on the max. We're like.
So how were your downwind legs today?
They were good. There was a lot of. There was a premium on coming around the mark, setting, and jibing right away. Not immediately, but right away. And that's a pretty aggressive maneuver. It's a lot of work really, really fast. It's like a sprint. And we managed to do it and keep our air clear on the run most of the time.
So if I told you the weather said tomorrow there's going to be no wind, what would you say?
Change gears.
So now this is the first day. How many more races, how many more days in the Vela Cup for you?
So we finish up on Friday, so we've got 3 more awesome days of racing.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have a couple more races in the first round robin. Everyone will have sailed everyone once. And then second round robin racing is going to be really exciting, mostly tomorrow and then maybe into Thursday, because all these teams are really good sailors, and I expect the racing is going to get much tighter because they are getting used to the current and the conditions and the boats. Some of them are new to that, and I really expect to see them bring it tomorrow.
So where were you on the weight limit? How close were you?
We were probably about 10 kgs under. Yeah, we had a little bit to spare, so we'll be eating big tonight. Yeah.
That's great. So what point of sail do you like in this condition?
I enjoy the downwinds. They're always a bit fun, a little bit sendy, and I think the match racing gets nice and close quite often. Although in saying that, with the tide here, it's quite easy to get a bit of a separation. Yeah.
How was the pointing in? How were you handling the kite today? How'd you feel?
I think thanks to my amazing bowman, she was all over it. I definitely don't envy her though. I'm pretty happy being at the back of the boat. But no, the girls did an amazing job, and we had no majors, so pretty happy with that.
Yeah, so it's really such a tactical adventure down the breeze, just keeping the boat under control.
Yeah.
How often have you sailed in this much breeze?
Quite often back home, so we're pretty comfortable in breeze. I think it's just the boats that we're a little bit uncomfortable with at the moment, so it's just learning how to handle them in the breeze. Yeah.
So how far can you broach before you lose the rudder?
We actually gave it a good go in that last race, and turns out they go over pretty easily. Whoops, yeah.
You didn't lose anybody overboard though. You look pretty okay that way.
Yeah.
So I counted 4 people on board.
Yep, we're all still here, all accounted for, so that's the main thing.
So how was your upwind work today?
Pretty good. We're pretty happy. Yeah, I think it's hard to know. It's early days still, so all the teams are still figuring it out.
Right.
So I expect we're all the game will change as the days get on and people get more comfortable in the boats.
And how were your results today?
We lost 2 and won the others. However many we did. Yeah.
How were your starts? How did you feel about your starts?
Pretty good in the starts. Yeah, pretty happy all round. A little bit to work on in the last sort of 30 seconds to a minute. I think we gave away a few, but all in all, can't complain.
And how did you feel about San Francisco currents?
We get a bit of tide back home, so we thought we'd be okay and we'd be used to it, but it's a little bit like a river out there, so it was a bit more than we were expecting, and I think we'll still be getting our head around it as the week goes on. Yeah.
Janelle, how was the day today?
It was fantastic. We're the only crew sailing 3 up. We're a little nervous about how breezy it can get in San Francisco in the afternoons, but we actually felt like we were one of the fastest boats.
So what did you like best, up the breeze or down the breeze in San Francisco wind?
I felt really good up the breeze. We felt really good tacking. We felt like we had really good feathering, which the J22 points upwind really, really well. Downwind, it started to get a little squirrely near the end of the day. I think it was gusting close to 30. We were fine when it was gusting to 20, but 25 to 30, we started to feel the boat roll side to side, and unfortunately we broached on our final downwind in the lead, and we lost our last race of the day just because we lost a little control rolling side to side.
Do you have to keep the rudder in the water to steer the boat?
Absolutely, at least half of it.
So what about your upwind work? How'd you feel about that?
Really, really good. We maxed out the backstay as much as we could. We kept the Traveler pretty close to the seat, and then I actually did a lot of main trimming to keep the keel engaged. So it was a lot of skipper feel while the crew just told me exactly where to tack. We had really good communication and a lot of active driving.
How long has this crew been together with you?
We've actually never sailed together before. I've competed against Catherine and Lexi last year at the U.S. Women's Match Racing Champs. Catherine was a driver, Lexi one of her crew, and I really enjoyed competing against them, and I wanted to bring some more women up in the U.S. to sail these grade 1s, so we took the opportunity to sail together.
So how was your record today?
We had a winning record. We were 4-3.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And how many times have you sailed in San Francisco Bay before this weekend?
So I've sailed, I didn't sail last year, but I think I've sailed at least once a year for the past 6 years. So I've experienced the J22s. I actually sailed my college sailing nationals senior year here in 2009. So I had to hold on to, I was sailing an FJ, and I love it. I think the J22 is really fun. The jib, these jibs are actually cut a little bit smaller. I think it's maybe like a club jib, a more robust jib for how windy it is. The typical J22 jib is really big. It's the same size as the mainsail, but this one, it's a little bit smaller, and the main is really active. So I actually like the setup at San Francisco a lot.
And so talk to me about what was the front end of the boat like? You only got 3, that's only 6 arms. Am I counting right? 3 people, 6 arms?
Yeah, and I don't do much in the back.
Holy moly, how were you able to control the kite and breeze?
We did Catherine's an incredible trimmer. We had to split the rolls as we rounded the windward mark, so I would ease the main sheet. I'd make sure my traveler and backstay were okay, and I actually pulled the guy back until Catherine was there for it. So the first few times I was letting the tiller go, we were steering all over the place until I kind of put my knee over it, and I would pull the guy back as hard as I could and then hand it off to Catherine, and then the bow of the boat was getting the kite up, fluffed out, pulled around, and then it just popped. So the crew work was incredible for 3 sails. And
how do you like racing just with women in match racing versus in open teams with men and women?
Yes, I actually really love sailing with both. I like sailing with friends that I've grown up with, and I have both gendered friends that I want to hop into a boat together. The limiting factor being the weight limits. We're all getting older and we're all getting a little bit heavier, but in the US we have an open series and we have a women's series. So I tend to sail with 2 different crews all year round, and it's really fun that I can get to a US championship and for women's and for open, sail with 2 different crews. I hope to get on the World Match Race Tour someday and do some events so I can have combined, but I'm so happy there's a women's.
We have with us Rebecca Coles of Scotland. And how'd you like the breeze today, Rebecca?
Yeah, it was awesome. We have been lucky enough to train over the weekend, so we were feeling quite confident with our boat handling. So yeah, once we got out of the pre-start, which is all quite new to me, we were loving the breeze, putting the kite up, even got up on the plane at the end of the day, which was awesome fun, and just really testing ourselves against some amazing sailors, so it was great.
So how close to the weight limit are you?
We're pretty close, yeah. We're just a little bit under, but yeah, I'm happy with where we are.
And how are you guys how are your people hiking?
So we've got our bowman's always legs over, and our jib trimmer, if we're not in like a tacking duel or something, is trying to go legs over as much as you can, and then the other 2, myself and the main trimmer, are legs in.
Did you have enough to do as you rounded the top mark?
Yeah. So first of all, you're thinking about the tide, which is so strong here, and then yeah, I mean for me, I'm easing and then trying to make sure that I'm going to land on the right angle for the kite, and yeah, looking at the ley line.
You're not busy, are you?
Yeah.
And so talk to us about the starts. How did you like your starts today?
Yeah, my starts, this is my second match racing event skippering, so my starts were on the up. So, at the beginning of the day, I definitely felt like there was lots of room for improvement, but luckily I have a great crew and we debriefed and we didn't get down in the dumps about it. We were quite positive and we were like, look, we've learned so much, and then we were just improving and we managed to get some pens on people, and we didn't get any penalties today, which I was quite happy with.
Wow.
So yeah, no, my starts need a lot of work, but that's an experience game. So I'm looking forward to maybe tomorrow trying out some of the new stuff I've learned. Yeah.
Talk to us about keeping the rudder in the water when the spinnaker's pulling the boat back and forth.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one actually. So if you let the kite go too far away from the boat, and you go a little bit too low, the spinnaker starts to steer the boat. So we were working today when the breeze was up, getting that kite closer in and getting under control. It was definitely something myself and the kite trimmer were talking about. Bringing it in, settling, and then going back into a more attacking maneuver.
What was your better, up the breeze or down the breeze? Start the question. Which did you like better today, up the breeze or down the breeze?
I think I really enjoyed the up the breeze. With the tide and the lighter stuff, it's, I think, really decided in the pre-start who's ahead. Whereas I think up range with the pressure, you have a lot more opportunities. Maybe someone stops up a hoist, or you can heat it up or have a better rounding. Everyone's under a lot more pressure, and that makes the better guys more likely to make a mistake, which plays into my advantage being a newer skipper.
So now, how would you like racing in open versus all women's? Which do you like? What do you like better about each?
I have done a lot of both. So I've crewed for a lot of female skippers. I've put together this women's team on my own, but equally I have sailed with guys, and I think it just provides a different element. I love going sailing with girls, and you have a bit more, the girls can be in those more authoritative positions like trimming and doing the main trim and driving, which is really great. But then equally I learn so much when I go sailing with guys, and maybe they can put their power behind something a bit more and be a bit more grunty, whereas sometimes as a girl you've got to be a bit more clever and use two people rather than one and come up with solutions. So it's different, but I definitely get positives from both.
So now match racing is an aggressive sport, and there's lots of rewards for being more aggressive and grabbing every opportunity you can. How do you like that?
I think that really plays into my personality. Not that I'm aggressive, but I love like fast-paced stuff. I love jumping in and trying new things, and I'm really loving the learning process. So I mean, I started match racing when I was 17 as a bow, and then I moved back to do trim, and now I've moved back to skipper. So it's one of those sports that you just cannot get enough of because you'll never complete it. There's always a race to be had. There's always something to learn, whatever role you're in or team you're in. So that's why I keep coming back, and I probably will keep coming back.
So how old were you when you started sailing?
Oh, I was about 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how old were you in your first race?
I was racing not that long into sailing really. My dad bought my parents aren't sailors, but my dad was so keen to get me involved and I loved it. So he bought a wooden mirror dinghy off the internet, and the pair of us just got stuck into the club racing, and he was helming and I was crewing, and then eventually I was doing the oppie sailing at the same time. And when I was about 10 years old, I turned to Dad and I said, right, that's it, I'm helming now.
We had a bit of a mixed bag today. We came away with 4 wins, 3 losses. A few dodgy rules calls and things, but we always kind of feel like this on the first day, so rearing to go for the next couple of days.
How close were you to the weight limit?
I think we're about 10 kilos under, because we're coming to the States. We're like, we want to eat some good Mexican food, drink a couple of beers.
Have a beer or two?
Yeah, we just decided to not be fat this spring.
So how were you about keeping the rudder in the water down the breeze?
Oh, that's a barn door, that rudder. You don't, like, we lost it once, but that was like the main sheet getting wrapped around the traveller car, so they're pretty good. There were some times where it's like, oh yeah, we're going over here, ladies, and she gripped like nothing else.
And so how were your starts today?
On the whole, good. Yeah. We're just getting back in kind of the practice of it. So we did a couple of things we wouldn't normally do, just to kind of test the tide and test how the boats shoot up head to wind and stuff. With 2 round robins, you can kind of have a little bit of, you can get away with a bit. Get away with a bit of dodgy starting and stuff. But it was quite hard to pass unless someone makes a big error. It's hard to pass today. It was different to what we expected. Like, we're used to sailing in lots of tide like that in Auckland, but normally the closer you get to the wall in Auckland, the less tide there is. But it didn't really seem like that today. Like, it wasn't quite as big gains in the left as we were anticipating. And I think that was one of our first loss was definitely because of that. We're like, no, you just need to smack the wall. You need to smack the wall, and that did not go well for us. So got to keep in mind the shifty breeze as well.
This has been a presentation of the Wednesday Yachting Luncheon.